Would this be a typical go-home show for Raw? Pretty much. It's time for us to review Monday Night Raw for the week of December 9th, 2019 on WrestleDOWN. Hey guys, are you ready for your hot tag? Because the guard is definitely time to warp.
Hey guys, it's Becca Dax, and you're watching the Wrestle Gamer on WGS-TV.
What's up, guys? I'm the Wrestle Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of WrestleDOWN right here on WGS-TV. Honestly, you got a look of bewilderment on your face.
Sorry. You're doing what WWE doesn't do, and you surprise me.
Well, guys, it was reported earlier today that regarding the 2020 class of Hall of Fame, or the Hall of Fame class, I should have wrote that the other way around in my script, that the first two inductees are, one, the Animal Batista, which makes sense.
How big is his dick?
I don't know, Ash, you care to tell me?
That's what we need to know. That's what the Hall of Fame speech is going to tell us. If he doesn't, we riot.
And two...
Hold on. I need to double check. Oh, good. It'll be April the 2nd, so he can't say April 4th.
Oh,
yes.
No. Oh, God. And two, the NWO, so much to the dismay of people out there, Hulk Hogan is going to be a two-time Hall of Famer, along with Scott Hall. Hall's already in the Hall of Fame as Razor Ramon, but now he's going to be there as part of the original NWO. The question is, will they...
Hogan.
Go ahead.
Hogan's going in the old black and white.
Yeah, but if they're going to include the original members, wouldn't that... Because if you remember correctly, the Giant, a.k.a. the Big Show, was also one of the original members of the NWO.
Yeah.
Should they include him?
Apparently he wasn't.
Yeah.
Apparently he wasn't.
Well, anyway, guys, it is time to pull off this Band-Aid and talk about Raw. For the first time ever, WWE would hold a divorce proceeding moderated by Jerry the King Lawler, as Ash is getting himself prepped. Lana came out with her lawyer. Well, we say lawyer, but let's call him what he was. An idiot who was paid to stand in the ring and say and do nothing. And then Rusev made his way out in his Donald Duck t-shirt. Lana would proceed to blame the WWE Universe for their marriage failing and went into her usual melodramatics, which was almost painful to watch at times. Lana would sign the divorce document first, and Rusev said he would sign, but he wanted something from Lana first. Lana thought it was going to be sex, but instead he wanted a match with Booby Loosely, which brought him out, and as soon as he signed the divorce paper, he was going to ask Lana to marry him. Rusev signed it, and Loosely struck, however, it wouldn't last very long, as Rusev would hit a machka kick, and then a belly-to-belly suplex through the table, so if anything, Ash, and you were the one who brought this up. This Sunday, we're going to see a tables match with Loosely and Rusev.
Not just that. It's going to be a tables match that Lashley's going to win. Because LOL.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this whole angle has been.
Remember, anything you see on television, the switch happens on pay-per-view. 9 times out of 10. And considering how every single match has been added at the very last minute, because apparently we only need 2 weeks to build to a pay-per-view that most people are excited for, because TLC stuffs are normally good.
Yeah, they normally are. Opening match this week was Matt Hardy taking on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre wanted to lighten the mood since the opening segment was a bit depressing, so he publicly announced on Raw this week that Matt's wife, Rebby, gave birth to their third child, Matt, slow it down for Christ's sake. And a healthy baby boy. However, McIntyre would make some less than disparaging remarks about Hardy and his family, which incensed the former Woken Warrior to attack and even hit a twist of fate before the match could even start. Hardy would proceed to take it to McIntyre, and everything was going his way until the Scottish psychopath hit the Future Shock DDT, which stunned Hardy, leaving him prone to the Claymore kick as McIntyre picks up the win here. Now, Ash, over the past several weeks, we've seen on Matt Hardy's YouTube channel, this whole thing about free the delete. And Matt Hardy's even put out a poll on Twitter about which character the fans would like to see a resurgence of, and the overwhelming majority of the vote went to the Broken gimmick. Now, do you think at any point WWE would look at all this and say, you know what? This worked for him. This is what fans want to see. We should do this.
No.
Why not?
When has WWE listened to the fans? Ever in the past 3 years?
Well, yeah, I know, but, one can dream.
Look how much they said, you've got to boo Becky because she beat the shit out of Charlotte. And it stayed there for 3 months, and then they just went, you can cheer. WWE is very resistant to change. People don't give a shit about Corbin. What happens? Push to the moon.
Hey, I'm King Corbin. I get to pour dog food all over Roman Reigns on TV.
Also, clearly, we're trying to sow the seeds for some sort of Drew and Orton interaction at the Rumble.
Possibly, but what happened in the main event might throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in that, but we'll talk about that.
No, I said Rumble.
Oh.
I said Rumble.
Oh, yeah, you got a point there. I do apologize.
We're planting seeds for stuff when we should be planting seeds for, because that last week was weird. He's got a gripe with AJ, but he's got a gripe with Drew, but they've got a gripe with each other.
And I'll say this, I never want to take a chop from Drew McIntyre. I don't want to take a chop from anybody, but at least I don't want to take a chop from Drew McIntyre. That's all I'm going to say.
That first chop, though, it sounded like this. On the second one, it echoed and whatever, but the first one was like... And he swung his hand and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
the best chop is what happened sort of next, but you had Charlotte next, so...
Well, actually, up next we had the Viking Raiders. As they made their way to the ring and said for the last...
You missed the promo bit. You missed the promo bits.
Well, with Charlotte and Becky?
Charlotte and Becky, but then Owens was like,
Oh, I was gonna mention
Owens
that.
Earlier.
I was gonna mention that when leading up into the segment.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that leading up into the segment.
That slap. That could be heard. That slap.
Yeah, well...
Drew, do more things like that slap.
Yeah. But anyway, Charlotte Flair would run into Becky. Apparently, Charlotte was looking for a tag team partner to challenge the Kabuki Warriors. Becky was a little bit resistant to it, and then said she wanted to basically show up Charlotte by doing the one thing that she couldn't do last week and beat the Kabuki Warriors. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Am I biased on my channel? Fuck yeah, I'm biased on my channel. It's my channel!
I mean, no, it's also...
Well, yes.
You did sign...
Yes, I did.
That deed poll.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
The issue I have with that is where we... Oh, wait. Practically every other time? So...
Yeah. But now we had the Viking Raiders. They made their way to the ring. and said for the last several weeks they were looking for worthy challengers, but all they found were victims. So they issued an open challenge to any team in the back for the Raw Tag Team Championship.
AOP.
Well, you were hoping. But the team that actually answered wasn't the AOP. It was the Street Profits.
AOP literally cut a promo weeks ago saying they are the fiercest team in the tag team division. You know, we will take out everybody to get to the top. So now they're more obsessed with Kevin Owens rather than, you know, the tag titles.
Yeah. However, Dawkins and Ford would strike quickly and nearly stunned everyone when Ford connected with the Frog Splash to Eric, which is usually their MO and their finisher, but it was broken up by Ivar. One thing I'm still trying to wrap my mind around is the cartwheel contest with Ford and Ivar had, or why Ford thought he was the Warrior or Batista and started shaking the ropes, but he would end up eating a spin kick from Ivar for his troubles. The finish of the match, though, was the Raiders hitting the Viking Experience on Ford to pick up the win as they retained the Raw Tag Team Championship. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, they did make the Profits look good at the start with what they were doing, but then it was quickly evaporated and it was just all Raiders after that, Ash. I mean...
The match went 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
How are you supposed to tell a decent match? How am I supposed
to care?
Yeah, not only that, but how can you tell a good story in the ring with only 3 minutes time? I mean, for years here on the channel, we bitched about the fact that WWE was doing 3-minute Diva matches when we thought that was wrong. I mean, you can't tell.
And 2 faces.
Yes, and 2 faces. How are you supposed to tell a decent story in the ring like that when you only have 3 minutes to work and you're working against another face? I just don't understand the logic or lack thereof.
You know who isn't a tag team that's face in WWE right now that's getting pushed?
The AOP. However, after both teams showed some respect to each other, out would come Seth Rollins, who had some business with said AOP and challenged them both to a fight. But he wouldn't get an answer from them. He got an answer from the man who was looking for them and had a steel pipe courtesy of Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens, who continued to push the issue that Rollins was in cahoots with the AOP. Rollins would leave the ringside area as KO would continue to call out the AOP, in which, to everyone's surprise, out would come Sami Zayn and Mojo Rawley. Backstage, when Owens was looking for the AOP, he ran into Mojo and asked him if he saw the AOP, and Mojo kind of mocked him like this, like, you know, there. And KO...
they went that way.
But they went this way, but then they went that way, then they went this way, and whatnot, but...
they went that way.
And Mojo kind of mocked him like that, which led to KO slapping the taste out of his mouth. Sami would go on to explain that he found a loophole that allowed him to be on both Raw and SmackDown, not as a competitor, but as a manager.
Why did we have the draft and the brand split?
Don't know. Zayn would play...
I get that we're trying to stress the fact clearly that they don't want Sami Zayn wrestling.
For whatever reason.
In which case, are they keeping him on just so he can't go anywhere?
Well, if they need him to be a mouthpiece for certain people, he's definitely got the skills to do that.
Yes, but why would Mojo need a mouthpiece?
When's the last time you heard a decent promo out of Mojo Rawley?
No, you should have taken the word out. You should have taken the word out promo from When was the last time you had a decent Mojo Rawley?
Good point. Zayn would plead with KO to apologize to Mojo for disrespecting him with that slap. Mojo would also remark that anyone looked tough with a steel pipe in their hand, so KO wanted to test that theory by giving him the pipe and then hitting him with a stunner. KO would lay into Mojo with the pipe, much to the chagrin of Sami Zayn. So if anything, Ash, we were looking for a surprise here, because I would have to guess that nobody was expecting to see a Sami Zayn tonight.
That was a surprise. Problem is, the surprise was Seth was like, I don't care. It's supposed to be between me and them. It's like fucking Baby Mario in Yoshi's Island.
Well, up next,
And I get it. That makes him good to be hated. But the problem is, although I'm pleased to see he's finally healed, the way he's done it involving the AOP, who I think, no disrespect to them, but they are tainted in a waste of space because of the shit that happened with the AOP segment with bloody Drake.
Yeah.
And we can't forget that he was part of it as well. Good, talented guy, forced to do whatever the shit that was.
Well, up next it was Aleister Black taking on Akira Tozawa, and the announcement was made that at TLC this Sunday, it's going to be Black taking on Buddy Murphy, more than likely in the kickoff match. Tozawa in this match would have some nice offense against Black, even a Hurricane Rana that sent Black to the outside. However, this would set up the end for Tozawa, as he would go for a tope suicida when Black was ready and counter it with a well-placed knee. Then Black would spell the end of Tozawa with the Black Mask kick, and again in slow motion it looks absolutely vicious to look at to pick up the win. So no matter what kind of match Black works in, Ash, against whoever it may be, I have to say, if you were to pick the top striker in the company right now, you'd be hard pressed not to have Aleister Black in your top 5.
Yeah, no, he's really good. I'm finally pleased to see that doing so. Rather than with the pick with a promo for week. Worth mentioning here as well, because I don't know whether you put up with the whole Seth leaving on Kevin and then the AOP doing the video package. How AOP spoke in Punjab and how Bane. And then Kevin went, "Those were really great points." And it was just like, yes, this is why Kevin is good. Kevin is God.
Okay, I just remembered one thing that I forgot to write down in my notes. Buddy Murphy and Zack Ryder. I do apologize about that, but come on.
That doesn't happen yet.
I know, but it was Murphy and Zack Ryder. I mean, what was supposed to be memorable about that match?
Buddy Murphy stealing more shit, Kenny?
I don't know. But anyway, Buddy Murphy picked up the win with the Murphy's Law over Zack Ryder. After a heated exchange in the back, the next match was Andrade with Zelina Vega taking on Humberto Carrillo. Now, what was said during that promo, I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
As soon as they brought out Humberto, I was like, oh, please tell me this is leading to something with Andrade. And lo and behold, here's Zelina Vega, Andrade, and they got angry, and you know, Humberto didn't just look like a gormless idiot.
Yeah.
It was like standing, you know, he was only being polite. It wasn't like he was trying to hit on bloody Zelina Vega. Otherwise, he's going to pick a fight with her husband. Which, if you've seen the blog, probably not worth doing.
Yeah.
Also, congrats, Sami. I know you're supposed to be a heel, but good fucking job. However, in between that promo backstage thing and the match, the makeover of Liv Morgan is coming soon. Hi, Emelina.
I will say this, though. If this leads to Liv Morgan in a bikini and a thong?
No.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I
The sensible thing.
I retract my statement.
The sensible thing, I would argue, is she pages herself.
She goes goth?
Well, to some extent, yes. Because it would be something that's completely different from her.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd make her stand out from all the other blonde bimbos. Charlotte. Mandy.
Very quickly, though, with Andrade and Humberto, a couple of things to note here. The match was really well worked. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Andrade was on par with a lot of his moves. The back
As
elbow
soon
was
as,
nice.
as soon as it said the match was happening tonight, I was like, these guys are going to deliver at least a good match. And they delivered a good match on the show that was needing a good match.
However, the one thing, again, to take away from this match is what happened at the finish. Andrade was charged. It all started with Zelina Vega got up on the ring apron. Andrade charged at Carrillo, who got out of the way, and Andrade collided into Zelina, knocking her off the ring apron. Humberto would take advantage of the situation with a victory roll pin on Andrade to get the victory. And after the match, it would appear... Go ahead.
The only problem with it is when they were setting up the spot, Andrade was like, as if to say, we're doing the spot. We're doing the spot. Isn't it obvious? Get up on the apron. We're doing the finish. Get up.
Yeah.
Why are you taking so long? Not like this show's going to over... Oh, wait.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to that point in the show. But did it appear that WWE is teasing a breakup between Andrade and Zelina?
Well, the big thing to note as well, that is Andrade's first loss since the draft. You know, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
3 months ago? 2 to 3 months ago? So they were making a big thing about that, so let's just hope that's on the pre-show. For the love of God.
Yeah. Backstage, Kevin Owens would discover the van that the AOP arrived in and started taking the lead pipe to it, leaving dents and breaking windows. KO would open the back of it and saw that someone was sitting in there, but before he could find out who it was, the AOP would attack from behind and even ram KO's head with the back door to the van. The mystery person would turn around and reveal himself to be Seth Rollins, obviously. Rollins would say that it's a shame that it had to be this way and curb stomped KO to the floor. Rollins would then appear on the stage and voice his frustrations with the WWE Universe with them not believing him. However, after all that, they forced what he said, a fiction, to become a reality, and that he was going to stand side by side with the AOP. Ash, this was something we kind of maybe talked a little bit about this when we were watching this, and then I asked you the question that do you feel Seth Rollins is better utilized as a heel more than a babyface?
Yes, but I don't want a rehash of the bloody Authority. Because I feel that's what the AOP is.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I'd like to see him run on his own. Not need the AOP, who, let's be honest, should be tag title contenders.
Yep. Following that, it was a handicap match, as the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch would take on the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors. Now, you guys should know me by now. I'm going to be biased as fuck due to the crush I have on Asuka and Kairi Sane. Now, however, there were instances where it looked like Becky was going to do what Charlotte Flair couldn't do last week and beat the Kabukis. Becky would try her best not to get caught up in the numbers game, but you're dealing with the most dominant and sexiest women's tag team in WWE. Asuka would eventually catch Becky in the Asuka lock, but somehow the man would counter into her own version of the Asuka lock, but Kairi Sane was able to pull Asuka to the outside, forcing the breakup. The Kabukis would hit a very nice variation of the Doomsday device on Becky, but it wasn't enough to put down the man. Kairi would go for the insane elbow, but Becky would counter with her feet up. Lynch would then send Asuka to the outside and then lockly disarm her on Kairi, but just like earlier, Asuka pulled Kairi to the outside to break up the hold. The Empress decided that she had enough of the man and took a steel chair to her. They would get out a table, lay Becky on it, and Kairi connected with the insane elbow, putting Becky through the table. Now, back in the trainer's room, Charlotte Flair checked on Becky, who agreed to team up with her as long as she got her hands on Asuka. Flair would then leave the room only to get jumped by the Kabukis. However, the one thing I did not like about this was all the camera shaking. I mean, I love looking at the Kabukis, but not when they're in an earthquake. Come on, Kevin Dunn, get your shit together. Kabukis would then challenge Flair and Lynch to a match this Sunday, and Flair and Lynch upped the ante by making it a TLC match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Go ahead, Ash.
So, the insane elbow counter was terrible.
Yeah, I watched it in slow motion on DVR.
Kairi connected with the elbow flush.
No, she didn't, because on observing it on my DVR in a slow motion, when Becky got her feet up, her arm connected with the back of her foot on the way down, so she didn't actually catch her flush.
But on the way down, it also connected with her chest because of momentum.
Well, yeah.
So it looked like it was a botch.
Yeah.
So, if anything, why didn't she just roll away? That would have been, believable. Then, of course, oh, look. Becky went through the table. Charlotte got beaten up backstage, and Becky did. Oh, look. Look who's on, I wonder what we're going to have here, despite the fact that the venue literally 5 weeks ago, which, by the way, is before Survivor Series, was telling us that this match was happening. But Vince has got to spring it onto us because we need last-minute buys for the network.
Mm-hmm. Well, up next...
So,
go ahead.
So, as it stands, the network is going to have no Seth Rollins match, a Roman Reigns versus Corbin match that people don't give a shit about, Revival and New Day, which, sorry, but we've seen that too many times. There's nothing that stands out as must-see on that show. Mainly because, look what happened. The ones that can't get along beat the shit out of each other. Can they coexist and become tag champions? The spoiler is yes. Which means it's been wasted again. It was wasted on the Iconics. It was wasted on Bayley and Sasha. It was wasted because it wasn't given any opportunity to linger with Bliss and Cross. And it's going to be wasted with Kabuki.
Yeah.
That title is a title that you don't want to have because your career goes downhill. Which, from when that title started, didn't make any sense. There was potential there, but it's just sort of, maybe we shouldn't have had a women's tag title. I know it means more stuff for the roster to do, but it's like, are SmackDown women ever going to have a chance at that title?
Or the NXT women. Anyway, up next it was Eric Rowan destroying yet another jobber. However, before that happened, the jobber grabbed Rowan's pet cage and ran to the stage with Rowan giving chase. The jobber then made his way through the crowd and back into the ring as he was banking on Rowan, not being fast enough to make it back into the ring before the 10 count. And let's just say the jobber was wrong, as Rowan made it back and also destroyed this guy with multiple Iron Claw slams, which caused the referee to stop the match. Ash, are we ever going to find out what's in that cage? Is it Luke Harper's career?
No. Because, Luke Harper has talent. Eric Rowan has been fucking wasted. When they were the bloody... what they call themselves?
Bludgeon Brothers?
Yeah. That was brilliant.
I agree.
And then because one of them got injured, bury it for 8 months, and then have them be separate. And then have them reunite. Yes, but then no. Rowan got hurt, and then Harper also had surgery as well to basically to take advantage of the gap because he wasn't going to be used. Never forget, Luke Harper might have saved Mustafa Ali's life at WrestleMania.
Yeah. WWE debuted a new segment called the Monday After the Weekend Update with the Street Profits, which is a parody of the famous SNL skit. They would preview and poke fun at the TLC match with the Kabukis and Flair and Lynch. They then ribbed on Lana and on King Corbin as well. They even had a built-in laugh track because no one else found the jokes even slightly amusing. Well, except for the Lana rib, but everything else just like, meh. I mean, I don't know what WWE was trying to accomplish with this, Ash, but...
Why did you say meh?
I said meh. I didn't say me, I said meh. Because I was kind of like,
It's not even that. It's stunned silence, the tumbleweeds going by. Slack-jawed.
Mm-hmm.
Think of all the promise the Street Profits had. And they did whatever, the shit that thing.
Well, they did mention Disney Plus and The Mandalorian in the promo. I mean, I don't know how much Disney paid them to do that, but...
He isn't Baby Yoda. It's set 5 years after Return to the Jedi. And people still call it Baby Yoda.
I don't know what else to say. I don't know the Star Wars lore as good as other people do.
Then again, I don't know what the gestation period is for babies. So maybe it is a Baby Yoda, because old Yoda might have been fucking that chicken. I don't know.
Anyway, as we get back to Monday Night Raw, it was time for the main event.
We have to.
Yeah, well, we're at the main event. It's the last match of the night. It's the United States Championship on the line.
We're running out of time, though, Billy. We're running out of time.
I know. As Rey Mysterio defended the title against AJ Styles. To me, right now, the United States Championship isn't the brand's secondary championship, but the top championship, all things considered, with Bork Laser and all. Mysterio and Styles, for the first half of the match, had a very decent back and forth. And at one point, Mysterio used Styles' own momentum against him by sending him to the outside, and after that, connecting with a basement dropkick, Mysterio would then hit an Acai moonsault. This, however, brought out the OC, Gallows and Anderson, and... Well, wait, hold on, I kind of lost... Alright, which distracted Mysterio enough, I'm sorry, to give Styles the advantage. Styles would nearly put Rey away when he countered Rey's crossbody with a dropkick, but Mysterio would not stay down. Mysterio would then fight his way back and went for the 619. However, Gallows would absorb the blow. Anderson would get dropkicked by Mysterio for his troubles and go for a Hurricane Rana off the top. However, it appeared, and I did go back and watch this in slow motion, that Styles was supposed to counter this. But there were two things that happened. One, it was Mysterio with the momentum it kind of carried Styles, and Styles was supposed to block by hanging on to the top rope, and he did not do that in time to counter the Hurricane Rana, which then made for the botch that we all saw. And I went back and I watched it over and over again before we even started recording this, just to make sure that I saw everything I needed to see. So when I say that the botch was on Mysterio and Styles, I'm saying that from my perspective, from what I saw on the DVR and from watching it in slow motion, I put the onus on both of them for that botch. However, it would appear that it would quickly recover, and Styles would connect with a powerbomb and a Styles Clash. However, Randy Orton would make his presence known, distracting Styles, allowing Mysterio to catch him in a small package to pick up the win and retain the championship, as Monday Nitro quickly ended after that. I'm sorry, Monday Night Raw quickly ended after that, Ash.
No, let's go through it. Orton, goes in the ring, sort of poses if he's going for the RKO, and then just rolls out the ring.
Well, he winked at
So the whole mind games...
He winked at
the whole mind game's still going. Yeah, but the whole mind game stuff is still happening.
Yes.
And then AJ is going to pick up Ray in the corner. And the trademark logo shows up in the corner, and I'm like, what the hell? Is this going to go off the air? And we're not going to find out who won because some dumb shit doesn't know how to time stuff backstage? And he rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 ding. Here is your winner. And still, United States cut to Modern Family.
Yep. Also, a quick shout out to Mance Warner for winning the WCW Gold Championship belt at this past Game Changer Wrestling's event. Anyway, guys, it's time for overall score and thoughts. Raw was indeed a go-home show tonight, all things considered. The Rusev-Lana divorce proceeding made me ill. Matt gets squashed again, this time by McIntyre. Viking Raiders retaining against the Street Profits, but when will they defend against the AOP? I don't think anyone expected an appearance by Sami Zayn, which throws the brand rule out the window. Aleister Black basically kicked the shit out of Akira Tozawa. Andrade and Alberto was surprisingly really good. Seth's heel turn was a little lackluster in my opinion. Kabuki Warriors destroyed both Becky and Charlotte, but does that mean they're going to lose the titles this Sunday? I don't want them to. Rowan squashed yet another jobber. Was the Weekend Update parody supposed to be funny? And Mysterio and Styles was a decent main event, even though Mysterio did split his pants. Overall score of Raw this week gets a 2.75 out of 5 with best match of the night. I'm going to give it to Mysterio and Styles, even though Mysterio did have the whole issue with his pants. With worst segment of the night going to the Rusev-Lana divorce segment. And Ash, I say this, not even the Donald Duck shirt could have helped save that segment. So, over to you, Ash. Overall score and thoughts?
2. Meh. Best Humberto and Andrade all day. Because you cannot give it to Mysterio and AJ, I would say, just because of the fucking ending that was literally had to be done like 4 seconds before they went off. Heyman's gonna get berated for that, I'm hoping, or somebody didn't work out the timing for what was going on and whatever. Worst segment? In all honesty, considering where they came from, like I said earlier, the Monday after the weekend update, or whatever they called it.
You got it, the Monday after the weekend update.
Yeah, that. Sorry, the Street Profits were good, and I don't know what has happened to them.
The main roster
At
happened
all.
to them. Vince McMahon happened to them. That's what's going on with
Paul
them.
Heyman. Paul Heyman
Heyman.
brought them in.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman had all those bits backstage where it felt natural. Okay, you know, it was forced, but sort of forced natural because, you know, they're just being their exuberant selves. When you try and put them into whatever the shit that was, it's like, no. And also, no. You know, and it's honestly getting to the point where it's like, thank God Wednesdays exist, because SmackDown has been lackluster for the last few weeks. And Raw, there's enough stuff on Raw to probably make a 2-hour show seem passable and decent.
Yeah.
But there's always an hour / 30 to 40 minutes, whatever you want to describe it as, 50 minutes, because of adverts and whatever, where it's like, if you cut that out, people wouldn't give a damn.
And if the viewership was up for last week's Monday Night Raw, it'd have to have plummeted from what they put out this week, sadly. But anyway, guys and gals, that's been our...
I mean, we'll see. If it does, it's not like there was a competitive football game that was going on. Because, you know, the Giants and the Eagles... Well, the Giants are sort of nowhere. They haven't got a chance of qualifying. Philadelphia, I guess, sort of did, but it's not like sort of big teams. I mean, next week, Billy's going to be shitting himself because Saints are playing at the same time. So I know what we're not watching next. I know what we're not. I know what we're not watching next week. Well, Vince, get on the shit.
Well, do remember that I do have it on automatic DVR, so even if I do watch the Saints game instead of Raw, I can still go back after and watch all of Monday Night Raw. But
how about we watch, you know, Packers and the Bears, followed by the 49ers and Falcons, followed by the Steelers versus the Bills, and just forget that TLC exists.
Well,
it sounds like a plan.
Well, anyway, guys and gals, that's been our thoughts on Monday Night Raw. We want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What are your overall scores? What are your thoughts on Monday Night Raw? Do you agree with what we had to say, or do you guys think that there was a much better match or a much worse segment that we should have had? We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure you slam that like button, like a champ. And if you guys want to see more of WrestleDOWN right here on WGS-TV, you know the 2 ways you got to do it. You got to leg drop the subscribe button and hit that bell icon. By the way, if you're watching this on Facebook, like it up and share it with all your friends. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood Wrestle Gamer, with my special thanks to the Studley Man Ashley, reminding all of you guys out there to just stay awesome. Bye, guys!
Please book Simon Grimm versus Sin Cara for Bloodsport 3.